Humanities and Public Administration 1, about looking at the world with human eyes and Rodin's statue, The Burghers of Calais. Written and narrated by Chung, PhD in Public Administration, former head of the United Nations Project Office on Governance, former Vice Minister of the Interior and Safety of the Korean government. In 1889, the citizens of Calais, a small coastal town in France, gathered to see the statue, The Burghers of Calais, which Auguste Rodin has been devoted for the past few years. This piece was made in honor of the 6 great ancestors who threw their lives to save their city Calais during the 100 Years' War between France and England in the 14th century. However, when they saw the work, people were astonished. It was because the vulnerable people, who were fluttering and even whining with fear in face of death, occupied the place where the patriots who had been supposed to stand heroically. Rodin said to the citizens who refused to receive the work, "Your ancestors are great, not because they threw away their lives wonderfully without any fear or hesitation, but because they voluntarily walked toward death with their own free will, although they are the weak human beings who fear death just like us." What would have been so amazing if a godlike being who was not afraid of death or rose from the dead had behaved like this? This story conveys how a great art that touches one's heart can be created by an artist's viewpoint and action of looking at the world with human eyes, that is, from the perspective of humanity. As people's interest in humanities has recently increased more than ever, we have asked about what the humanistic value is. First of all, the humanistic value is to feel pity for and trust in human beings. It is the humanistic value that acknowledges the weakness of human beings, even swaying in small waves of breath, but trust in infinite strength of the human spirit that dwelled in its weakness, which leads to the belief that vulnerable human beings can eventually contribute to progressing human history. In addition, exploring the essence of happiness and contemplating the value of life is also one of the important components of the humanistic value. I think that a society where the humanistic value is realized is a good society. The society first sympathizes with and trusts in humans. The society has no difficulty in defining and exploring people's own happiness. The society is also full of thoughts and efforts to lead to meaningful lives as human beings. The value can be embodied in various social tasks, such as protection of the vulnerability, integration, welfare, safety, economic growth, education, culture and arts, environmental protection, community recovery, and citizen participation, etc. All members of our society can contribute to achieving the humanistic value by implementing these tasks. Politics, public administration, businesses, non-profit organizations, and individuals can and should commit to fulfilling the humanistic value in our society. Nonetheless, I think, among other things, public administration must do this work and do it best. This is because public administration already has legislation, organization, workforce, and budget necessary to realize much of the humanistic value. And above all, people give public administration the calling to do this. We call it public value. I have been thinking about humanistic public administration since it was argued that humanities should be introduced to business management. If humanities were not just about making money, but about making the world full of humanism, I thought that humanities should first make friends with public administration. This is because the humanistic administration put the reason for its existence in realizing the humanistic value by public administration and civil servants. Rodin's sculpture, The Burghers of Calais, which I first encountered at a small art museum in Basel, Switzerland in 2010, was commonplace in the courtyard. With a closer look at the sculpture that was slightly taller than the height of the human being, I thought of how the sculptor looked and interpreted the world in order to be able to express the inside of a human. Yeah, by looking at the world with the eyes of money, the eyes of God, and the eyes of material, you could never feel compassion for humans. Rodin looked at the world with human eyes, so he could have discovered the weakness and pain of human beings and the greatness of human spirit in duality. Likewise, the starting point of humanistic public administration should be to look at the world with human eyes. If it is the sculptor, Rodin, who create the humanistic value through art, it is the civil servants who create that value through administration. As human beings, we can understand the weakness and pain of human beings, and so the heartwarming humanistic administration that looks at the world with human eyes is still the calling of our civil servants who works for the people in the field. Thank you for listening.